All right, we are live. RTD Live Talk, Detroit's #1 late night YouTube talk show. Back at it again for another live stream. Excited to be back and to get a chance to check in and see what's going on. So, of course, a lot of things happening today, of which the primary story of which everyone's aware of happens to be the current downward trend in the equities markets today globally, it looks like. But then on the other side of the equation, something that a lot of people might not have been paying attention to happens to happen in the on the digital dollar realm. And so had a chance to actually watch the finance hearing committee or whatnot talk about the need to roll out the digital dollar or the Fed account. Or there's a digital treasury note that's thrown out there as well. So a lot of things we're going to touch on. And so got a couple articles here I want to touch on and get your thoughts on it. And then we'll keep it moving. So with that being the case, welcome to this live stream. My name is Mike, the host of RTD Live Talk. Excited to be back. So, stocks tank and gold cruises right along. And so we got Dan here. We got Joe. We got Spirit. We got Philman. Crypto King. It says gold even brother from veteran in Japan. Gold evening. I like that, my friend. We got David. Says, hey, so happy to be watching you with you. Appreciate you, Dave, for checking in, man. And also, as always, we're going to cover some of the stories that I have here. Feel free to share with me any stories that you might want to touch on. Want to open the phone lines up. We're going to dive into it. So I want to get right into the very first article here. And just the headline itself. I did not actually pay attention to the equities markets, even though my phone kept going off, kept getting alerts. But I'm like, I'm not really, not surprised, to say the least. So it's not something I'm really going to dive into, further as far as watching it go down. So the question will be, how will tomorrow pan out? So we'll touch on that. But let me actually pull up the very first article here that caught my attention. It's like, let's go ahead and touch on this tonight, along with a couple other articles. And so it says stocks suffered their worst day since March, with the Dow plunging more than 1,800 points. And of course, the mainstream media wants to make it seem like the primary driving force happens to be the concern of more cases. And so it looks like, could this be that potential? I can't really say a false flag, because I was expecting some type of narrative to come up, but I don't really think this is it. So I'm not going to jump on a bandwagon and say that this is, the reason why we're seeing this. Of course, there's more than we actually are being told, but it's interesting how the mainstream narrative comes from the fact that cases. So, of course, there's more stories out there talking about all the states that decided to open early. The amount of people being admitted to the hospitals is on the rise and all that stuff like that. So take it for what it's worth. Believe it if you don't. But, here's some little information here about the largest one-day percentage drop in 2020 since March 16th. And so didn't quite reach that point, but we were, almost there. So we'll see how tomorrow ends. But and another article that caught my attention that I wanted to bring up as well happens to be this. It says gold ends higher as global stocks sell off amid fears of a resurgence. And so when I saw that, I'm thinking like, man, stocks tank, gold did not. And so once again, if you know the true essence of money, as far as gold and silver being the core foundation of what money or sound money or money in general, everything on top of that is a spinoff, and everything that we're told to get into happens to be spinoffs and derivatives and all types of financial products that are subject to market conditions, as well as manipulation, as well as legalized counterfeiting, you name it. So not too surprised, but it looks like from the price of gold today, it did a pretty good job of retaining its current level of activity. Did a little bit, but that at the end of the day, it looks like it just would remain constant. It just cruised right along in the midst of all this market uncertainty. So going to dive a little further into that. But before I dive into it, let me check in via chat. As always, if you have any questions, feel free to highlight at Rethinking the Dollar, and I'll definitely try to get to it if I get a chance to check it out. And so let me see here. It says, count out of curiosity, do you know who you'll vote for who you'll vote for yet? Well, it's for me personally, when it comes to the two-tier political system, as of right now, it looks like we're being given two choices, Sleepy Joe or Trump. At this current point, I'm not confident in either one of them, but yet when I know I'm nowhere near confident or nowhere near in. I could not get on board with someone who I know beyond a shadow of a doubt has been in politics long enough and has absolutely accomplished nothing that benefited the citizens outside of his own particular family. And so it's not too hard to pretty much come to the conclusion who that person would be if I was to vote. So this last go round, I did not vote just because it's one of those things where even though we're being told to exercise our rights to vote, but yet at this current moment, based upon what's going on from the monetary realm, whether it's Joe or Trump, the end of how all this how all this unravels still will be very disastrous. It's just a matter of who's going to take us to that end faster. No matter what, we're going negative. No matter what, we're going cashless. No matter what. So I'm not really too concerned with what actual vote I cast as opposed to the steps I take now to brace for impact as we all crash into or come to a crash. So for whatever that's worth. So good question. Question says, do you Trump will be selected again? If so, what agendas will Trump get done for the elites after the election? Philman, great question. Okay, so man, it's hard to tell. And so, of course, if you guys watch the Greg Hunter with Charles Nanner, he's saying his calculations, algorithms, whatever, show that Trump's winning again. Then you have other people in the spiritual realm saying, because Trump's a prophet of God, he's going to be elected again. So no clue. And that's why in regards to, the voting mechanism right now, we've been given the illusion of choice, all headed in the same direction. And so it's one of those things where if Joe gets in, I anticipate an immediate heading towards outright socialism and Marxism and all the isms, you name it, is going to be solely by Joe. And if Trump gets reelected, there's a small smidget piece of me which hopes deep down in my gut that there's a little bit of hope. I can't say hope, but there's a little bit of something that Trump could actually bring out a little bit more dirt from underneath the surface, expose a couple more people. So whatever that's worth, I'm not sure. I do think Trump wants that second term mighty bad for some reason, and being the president is not an easy job. So I really don't have any. I'm not really sure what to say when it comes to a man who wants a second term, knowing dang well that you can't have an actual honest presidency without compromising yourself in one form or another. So that whole drain the swamp stuff, hopefully, whatever that means, we get a chance to see some of that, even though there's been some things been done good on the other side. It's not really being talked about. It's just that tit for tat, back and forth political warfare. I'm curious to see how it plays out. So if Trump does get that second term, will he really be the guy that the mainstream media hates, all the Democrats, all the political, people that's been in politics all their life seem to hate? Is he really doing something disruptive that will really uproot what they're trying to do? That's what I want to see. So as opposed to Joe Biden, it's not hard for me right there, to be honest with you, as to who I would rather see, given the fact we only got two choices. So I would prefer to have a third party candidate come in there, but that's not possible. So that's my stance there. Let me know what you think. Let me see here. It says, just checking out Greg Romino Daily video to stay in top of market and Gerald Celente. Very true. So I'm supposed to have Gerald Celente on the show next week, I think. We're supposed to be on this week, but the schedule got crossed up, so it didn't transpire. And then Gregory Manarino, I think I'm gonna have him back on towards the end of the month. So, and what else? So yeah, okay. So let me get into a couple more articles. Then I'm gonna open up the phone lines. I want to hear from you as always, because it's not a talk show unless you're talking to somebody like audibly over the phone. And so let me pop up here. So I started us off by mentioning subject matter primarily stocks tank, gold cruises right along. Cryptocurrency did a little dip as well. So it's one of those things where it's that if you don't hold it, you don't own it concept of those that were holding something physical, was cruising right along, not really concerned. And even if it was to dip, when you're holding something tangible in your hand that has been around before you were here and more than likely will be here after you're gone. It's one of the things where, you got weight on your side. So Yeah, so it was, it was a calm day overall. And so, because everybody know that where the stock market is heading, whether it's going right up because of manipulation or right down because of manipulation. So anyway, go. It will return to its intrinsic value. I'm sure you can agree on that. But okay, so what I was paying attention to today, and I actually had a chance to watch the whole thing from beginning to end. And it's one of the things where I think it's kind of flying under the radar right now. But I'm going to put this on the screen here so you guys can see what it is. And amongst all the market activity, political warfare activity, and all that stuff like that, here we have the task force on the financial technologies. It was the House Committee of Financial Services met today virtually. So it was about an hour 45, meeting of politicians back and forth saying the same exact thing. And so I got a chance to listen to a lot of the same information shared again, but this time there was a sense of urgency. And the sense of urgency came from the fact, let me see if I can find this picture of everybody that was involved. So here are the individuals that were involved. Not all of them attended, but it was a good portion of the individuals here. So I'm click on this so you guys can see it a little bit bigger if I can. Okay, so Mr. Not, maybe not. Okay, so let me shoot. So you guys can see the picture. Try and blow it up a little bit. But as you guys can see the picture here, so this is the individuals that met today. And it was the politicians mixed in with some financial services individuals. They had one Federal Reserve gentleman there, as well as some college professors. And of course, the questions were pre-scripted, written out. It was just very generic in nature. But I noticed a sense of urgency in their voice to come up with something in regards to what you guys see on the screen right here. So if I can highlight this or not sure if it'll let me, but you guys can see what it says on the screen here. Central bank digital currency. So one of the gentlemen was one of the gentlemen there who's leading the digital dollar project. He laid out his case as best as he could as to how we got to improvise, because if we don't, China's going to leave us behind. We're going to be left out. And, imagine what would happen if he even threw out an example saying that what if in Africa, China has some type of factory and they request that all payments are made in the digital yuan, and we are not able to compete with that because as the Belt and Road Initiative expands, they're going to be using a digital yuan. Therefore, the dollar will lose its place as a reserve currency and all that doom and gloom stuff. But takeaways from all this, I'll cut it short, is that as of now, what they're going to try to roll out probably by the end of the summer, or definitely try to put some type of lingo in that next bill, is utilizing Fed accounts as well as the postal service banking. And then, so that's just two methods that they was kind of thrown out in this conversation today. And so what that entails is them trying to find out a way, as they mentioned, the primary categories, the primary reasons why they want to do it is because of the unbanked, those that are not in the banking sector, are not able to get their stimulus checks. 35 million people did not get their checks. And then another portion got checks, but yet due to the fees on having to take your check down to the bank, cash it, and bring it back, and then all that stuff like that, it's just not suitable for the American people. And so what they're trying to do is say, hey, we need a more expedient way to get stimulus into people's hands, just in case we have another situation where there's more checks being given. So we need to get this ball moving now. And if we don't do it, we're going to be behind the curve when it comes to the central bank of the yuan. So the sense of urgency was the desperation in their voice is not to be left behind in the whole digital currency race to have a relatively centralized currency outside of the dollar in and of itself. So the Postal Service is one of the professors mentioned that the Postal Service is already in place. The infrastructure is already there. Everyone has a Postal Service in their neighborhood. It'll be easier to incorporate some type of ATM machines inside of the Postal Services, along with a digital payment method where people can actually bank through the Postal Service. Everything will be delivered right there. Everyone can go down to the Postal Office and it'll be less fees, this. And then on the Fed accounts, the gentleman from, I think the Federal Reserve was saying that the Fed accounts is basically their digital payment platform that they've been using for big institutions as of now, but yet it wouldn't take too much longer for them to be able to funnel it to where they can do it to where everybody will have an account, having a direct account with the Federal Reserve. It'll be a banking account minus the need to go through the commercial banks. And so what they're doing basically is preparing us for the idea that once this banking paradigm comes to an end, meaning that the commercial banks, in my opinion, will be ran into the ground due to the fact that there's a lot of trouble happening right now on the commercial banks balance sheets that we're not hearing about. We got the CLOs, collateralized loan obligations, which are blowing up right now because all those loans are being defaulted upon by all the malls that are closing, all the businesses that are not paying their bills or will not be paying their bills. And so they're going to have a lot of issues. Then the ETFs, so the banks themselves, the financial institutions are able to create those same products, sell them to their sales, and now they're being bailed out by the Federal Reserve to the tune of $500+ billion plus some. So they're hemorrhaging right now. So the commercial banks are in big trouble. So they're going to go belly up eventually. Okay. So along with that, they want to have something ready to be rolled out already in use so that it will be a seamless transition right over. Okay. So that's enough on that. And then you factor in a third opportunity where, let me see here. There is this article right here came out today as well. It's about utilizing the Treasury Direct Treasury accounts. And so if you guys remember, during President Obama's administration, they rolled out the the My IRA platform where everybody can invest in treasuries right away and save up to $1 a day or some crap like that. And it's an account on the balance sheets with the Treasury. So the Treasury now, this individual here saying that the Treasury Direct system is already available and it'll be easy for them right now to basically take everyone's Treasury account, whether you've activated or not. It's there ready for you. If you choose to, you can actually open up your Treasury Direct account where you basically invest in treasuries. And then what they're talking about doing is just adding a banking mechanism to that, to where you'll be able to have, or the digital Treasury dollar or the digital Treasury dollar, digital Treasury note that they can also roll out right away that could compete or be considered legal tender alongside the Federal Reserve notes and digital dollars that's already in existence through the Federal Reserve system. We can have a 2-tier, a Treasury note, digital Treasury note, fully legal tender that can be done, or you can withdraw them, whatever, in Federal Reserve notes until the Federal Reserve is able to get caught up to speed and rolled into the payment method within a timely manner. I'm assuming by this fall. So that was what I was paying attention to today. I wasn't really concerned with the stocks tanking or the metals or the cryptos moving. I'm watching as to what they're game planning for you and I. And so it looks like they're right on course. So I think from this takeaway from this current meeting today from the Financial Services, House of Financial Services, that they're all in agreement that something needs to be done. And I think this current environment now plays in very well to them rolling something out for sure by fall, whether it's through the Treasury or the Fed or in unison. Something's coming your way for this next round of direct injections to the public, as it looks like they're trying to play up that wave is coming. So, all right. So that's enough of me ranting and sharing with you what was on my mind. Let me hear from you now. Give me a call. Let's talk about it. What else do you guys want to talk about, this or anything else? The stock market's where you guys think is going. Feel free to let me know. I'm curious to find out what's on your mind. All right, so let me check back in the chat. Let me see. I'm missing a couple things here. Oh, you all need to do Trump Zion. Party of Zion. I say Roth is a roll. Let me see here. If working on what really matters, I just bought 2 mini greenhouses. Peter, good stuff, man. You always have a third-party candidate if you vote. Okay, I see a lot of voting. So Rothschilds own and control the money supply. Therefore, they own and control the puppets in government. Nano Joe. Very true, my friend. And so here's the thing. Based upon the information I just shared, whether it's the digital Treasury note or digital Treasury dollar, whatever you're going to call it, or through the Fed accounts, it's still going to be something that's centrally controlled by the overseers of this current monetary system. So even if the commercial banks run themselves into the ground based upon the fact that their liabilities far outseeds their assets, and so ultimately every recession, if you look at the banking crises, all the bank panics that's occurred over the last 100 years or longer, actually, every banking crisis, the banks basically minimize themselves. So banks go out of business or they consolidate into other businesses and other banks, down to where now we have the too big to fail banks. And so once again, we probably started off 100 years ago with maybe 30,000 banks. Now we're down to 7 major players. And by the time this episode is done, we might be down to 1, which is JP Morgan. All right. So hello, caller. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Yeah. This is JJ from Toronto.
JJ from Toronto, you say?
Yeah.
How you doing, my friend? What's on your mind tonight?
Yeah. Good to talk to you, man. Long-time listener. Great show.
Appreciate you, man.
Get to the point real quick. So I've been checking out this Davos meeting going on, I guess, Switzerland.
Yeah.
And wow, these guys are packing a lot of information. If you just go to YouTube, you can type in Davos, just type in World Economic Forum.
Yeah.
World Economic Forum.
Yeah.
They got their channel. They're pumping out a lot of videos.
Really?
These guys are the movers and shakers.
Yeah.
I thought this was like all the information was maybe a possible information, but these guys are really shaping the future. They're talking about changing up the university systems, how they make MBAs. He's telling the questioner, "Oh yeah, I'll be talking to the top 15 universities about changing their curriculum and all this crazy stuff."
Really?
They're going to be changing the way money is conducted from cash to basically using people to like clean the environment. That's going to get you a credit instead of cash, so you can go and spend.
Wow.
Like, these guys are really moving stuff like that around. And one last thing, I wanted to point out, you were speaking of definitions, such as economic definition. What you need to do is put legal definition when you check a definition for something.
Yeah. Good job. So every now and then I do. Yeah, every now and then I do, but just in a quick scramble, I just type in a word in Google and see what pops up. So definitely some good advice, my friend. I appreciate that.
Yeah, man. Great show, though, man. Hold it up.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah, and shout out to low blood pressure and Pat and Bitcoin Ben and all of them.
All right, man. I appreciate you. Right. Enjoy your night.
Yeah, man. Take it easy.
Yep. Hello, caller. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hello, this is John.
John, how you doing, my friend? What's on your mind tonight?
I'm doing fine. How about yourself?
Doing well. Do me a favor.
Doing well.
Can you mute the computer or get a little feedback?
Oh, I was feedback. Is that better?
Yep. Go ahead. What's on your mind, my friend?
Where's the stock market going? What do you think? It went down 5, 6, 7% today. Are we going to keep going down, or is it going to pop up next week?
I would imagine it could be one of them things where they're trying to test to see how Mr. President Trump responds and see what he does, or this just could be some real action to where it's going to have some jitters, but then go back up. But based upon the activity that the Federal Reserve is committed to doing, I'd imagine it's going to go up, substantially before it goes down to where a lot of people say it's going to go 10,000, 5,000. So, it might be back to February-ish where we have those fluctuations, or March when we had those fluctuations of last year actually $1,000 up or 1,000 points up, 800, 600, 500. So we could be back to that type of activity for a while. But I'm not sure, my friend. What do you think is going to happen?
I mean, it should be down.
Yeah.
But I mean, there's a lot of money getting pumped into it.
Yeah.
And I just want to know how to invest intelligently.
Yeah.
You invest like it should be going down, but it pops up because there's a lot of manipulation and money being pumped into it, created, and a lot of people following.
Yeah.
But I think it's going to go down. But there's also inflation to think about too, because there's money being created that's being pumped into it.
Yeah. Now you talk about.
I thought I knew, but I guess I don't know anymore.
Yeah. So you're saying down on a short term, down like within the next couple of weeks, maybe months, or like next year, or what's your time frame that you're trying to gauge?
I mean, I think it's going to go down in the short to medium term, and then it might go up if inflation goes up, which was really good for gold and silver.
Yeah.
Because I think that's going to go up even higher.
Yeah.
The market might go up, but it's just following inflation.
Yeah. Well, good point, man.
Yeah. If I knew, I'd be a millionaire.
Wouldn't we all? So yeah, as of now, based upon the futures, it looks like tomorrow, might recover some of those losses as of right now. So we'll see how that plays out if they can keep that going. So we'll see, man. But hey, I appreciate the call.
Yeah, no problem.
Be good. Yeah. Good stuff, man. Good stuff. Appreciate the call. So yeah, as of now, it looks like they're trying to make up some a little ground from today's losses. So we'll see, man. But it's one of the things where investing in equities, there's no guarantees. It's all based upon, it's not even based upon fundamentals anymore. So now it's just, it's basically going to the casino in a sense where you roll the dice, unless you know what you're doing, unless like the concept of buying and hold, as I mentioned, is not working out well for a lot of people because I'm assuming all the anxiety and nerves that go into trying to pick things that will be worth value in the long run. Like I'm not too confident that Netflix will be able to entertain us for the next 20 years to where I can really count on that. So not sure if I would hold that long term myself, but that's just me. Got another call here. Hello, caller. What's your name? Where are you calling from? Hello?
I'm calling from Florida, Cecil Brown. I talked to you the other day, been a couple weeks ago. Got the hillbilly accent.
How you doing, Cecil? Good to hear from you, my friend. What's on your mind tonight?
Well, I think all the paper assets are going to go in the crapper, and you're going to have huge amount of that gold and silver is going to go up. But what's it going to be in? What's we had this talk a while back.
Yeah,
with another guy. What's it going to be? And the dollar's not going to be worth anything. So what are we going to get for it?
Yeah, so it's one of those things where the scramble is on now. As we've mentioned before, the central banks have been getting their weight up for quite some time now. So everybody in the know where this is heading. Now it's just a matter of, the timing of it. And of course, we can never predict the timing. So, how much of a risk, how much more are you willing to take of the fluctuations before you make sure you're heavily anchored down while you speculate with everything else would be my primary focus. So, but that's just me though. So
interesting.
Yeah.
But love your show. You do an excellent job and keep it up.
Appreciate it, my friend.
You're gonna. Okay.
Thank you. Thanks for the call. Bye. Yeah, man. Good stuff. Appreciate the call. As always, give me a call. I'm curious to hear what you think. And so while he was talking, I was trying to pull up. Let me see if I can find it. Pull up the Exeter's pyramid so you guys can see for yourself exactly what I'm referring to here. Let me see. Is this it? Nope, that's not it. So I can't find it. Oh, yes, I can. Here we go. Here's a picture here. So this is the illusionary world of. This is something that I'm sure everybody's seen. If I can zoom in, but these are all the list of financial products that the world has been dealt out and told to hold and buy and get into. And of course, when the markets are stable and the fundamentals are natural and things are normal, they do well. But yet we're at a point now where the debt happens to be so large. We're reached a global debt saturation where if there is no consumption to spur on real true growth, then central banks around the world are forced now to come in and try to create growth artificially by overly counterfeiting funds. Therefore, it's going to make all those assets on top very risky to where the very thing at the bottom, which happens to be the most minute of all, silver, will benefit well in the days ahead due to the fact that just a shifting of valuations. When one is overly inflated, hyperinflated out of value, it's going to be debased heavily, and everything else will be appreciating as a recipient of all that liquidity. And that's how history always repeats itself. So anyway, let me check in via chat. Let me know what's on your mind. Putting kids to sleep, sneaking a peek at the phone. Low blood pressure. How you doing, man? Shane Ellis theory is real. What else we got? It says, remember who is begging for a negative interest rates and who benefits from them. Very true. And so don't forget, or I'm assuming you're mentioning President Trump as well, because he's the one primary person that's been pleading and basically calling out the Fed for being behind in the fact that we should have already been negative. So imagine this. If President Trump had gotten his way, probably was it last year for sure. I want to say definitely beginning of this year. If President Trump would have gotten his way as far as the Federal Reserve said, okay, President wants negative rates, let's drop this, below zero, flat out, like nominal, no doubt. Then at that point, think about how it still wouldn't have made a difference because we already had QE at that point, and then we still ran into issues. So, yeah, Lamar says, once the dollar collapses, we won't have to worry about finding toilet tissue anymore. Oh, man. So it's just that's in the very thought of that is like, man, that's real. And so one of the issues with hyperinflation, the way it's been done in the past, is that central banks or governments tend to borrow excessively. Extra's pyramid. Yes, Jay. And central banks print more than is needed, therefore causing a glut of actual paper to then circulate. Whereas in our issue now is we don't have a real glut of paper per se, but there's more digits that are being created that will continually be created that will keep it from actually being probably a paper situation. Like I don't see a time where there'll be Federal Reserve notes in the streets. I don't really think that'll occur because between now and then, they're going to try to shift us into that next system and our next digital payment. So I would imagine they would probably want to, if they could, they would want to try to remove cash from our hands or disincentivize us from using it by taxing us in order to transact with it to where we got to hell with being taxed. We're not earning interest in the bank. It costs me to get it out in my physical hand. And then people are not accepting it anymore because of this health scare. So what's the point of even dealing with cash? So I'd rather just go with this new Treasury digital dollar or the Fed account dollar. And so for those that are just joining us, I started off by talking about outside the obvious story we've been told about. There was a hearing today, further investigating as well as study for the need to roll out something digital in the form of a digital dollar as soon as possible. So that's something that they really, really want to have out before fall. Hello, caller. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hey, Mike. How you doing? This is Stephen from Milwaukee. I just thought I'd throw in my little 2 cents again.
Yes, sir.
I'm the guy that's gonna every now and then gonna come from a biblical perspective. And as you were talking, and I was listening, I thought about the Book of Revelation 13. Verse 16 through 17. I'm not going to get into it, but it talks about small and great. It talks about the mark of the beast. It talks about free and slave, rich and poor, and how you wouldn't be able to buy or sell without it. I think that this is a scripted, well-scripted plan, demolition of humanity. And, it's kind of like we can try to find as many ways to deal with this as possible. I have lots of ammunition. I have lots of protection. And then I think about how we battle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities and spiritual wickedness, high places, right? So I'm like, wow, how am I fighting? Maybe I'm fighting this with trying to fight this with the wrong tools. I just wanted to kind of throw that out there that this is going to be a real challenge.
I agree. I do agree. And the more this unravels and the more the things more the pieces of the puzzle are put together, it's no way that the transition or reboot or restructuring will be comfortable. It's no way. No matter how much preparation we do in the natural, there's going to be something we can't account for that's going to catch us off guard because we can't. There's no way of figuring this all out because no one has ever lived through this type of transition before. So the spiritual elements of things is imperative, and that's one of the things where I try my best to remember, where this is heading, what my true loyalty is to, and that's the kingdom of God. But yet sometimes I get caught up in the noise, man, and I do forget. So it's good to be reminded in the midst of a call. So I appreciate you for taking it biblical on me. So.
No, I appreciate you too, man. I see it. Sometimes I see all these people with these dogs. They love their dogs, and as the prices increase, and food shortages increase, and I'm wondering how much sacrifice they're going to be willing to make for their dogs. And sometimes in my mind, and I know this is a crazy thought, but I can see sometimes these people, man, throwing their dogs on the grill. I know that's morbid, but
yeah. And I mean, it's real talk. Like, just to throw stuff out there. I even mentioned to my wife every now and then, do you want some barbecue? My dog is named Luke, so I say, you want some barbecue, Luke? And she gets mad at me, but I'm like, we got to do what we got to do.
At least I'm not the only one.
Yeah, exactly, man. But it's just talk. I don't plan on barbecuing the dog. But thanks for calling in, man.
Me either, man. I love you, bro.
All right, man. You love me too, man. Oh, man. Yeah, so for all those animal lovers, I am an animal lover as well. So don't take it like we're talking for real. It's just, when you, I guess, and here's the thing. I know we're not the only ones that probably thought about some stuff like that, because in this type of environment, I like to play out unrealistic scenarios to the T. So I think about the craziest things, and then I try to bring it back. So, for those that might be new to the channel, it's been a while since I've done it. I used to do it a lot when I used to have my guy, Paul Half Dollar, on the show. But just to reassure how far left field I can go sometimes, I got my tinfoil hat. So back in the day, I used to put this hat on, and when I put this hat on, I used to say some of the craziest stuff, but as if the mind can think it, somebody out there is trying to do it. So it's like, I like to cover all my ground. So I missed that call. Give me a call back. We'll get you on here. Oh, man. Yeah, but just all in good fun for now. All right, so let me get back to the chat. Highlight our Rethinking a Dollar, and if it stands out, I would definitely get it. Let me see. Is it do? Okay, so do you think we see negative rates before or each or after cash is removed from system? Your thoughts. Lamar, actual nominal negative rates announced from the Federal Reserve. They're going to try a yield curve situation first. It's not going to work, because, and just reading more articles now about how the yield curve, how people, governments, central bank look at the fact that they're trying to use the yield curve. That's an excessive round of quantitative easing, because you're really distorting the cost of borrowing by pegging the rates of lending or borrowing rather. So that's very problematic. So there could be some issues where the yield curves be as the actual tipping point. So negative rates, I would like to say that I could see it in the midst of this, whatever is strike 3 that I mentioned. Like, we had the pandemic, we got the lockdown, whatever strike 3 will be. I don't think it's going to be the second wave, but I think it'll be a lot worse. Whatever that might be could take them over the limit to where those 12 lending windows don't work. They got to add some more lending windows, and they got to go negative. So at this current point, I'm anticipating some unusual, even more so, activity in the next 6 months before the presidential election. I'm willing to bet we're going to see some stuff that we probably would have never even thought about. And so negative rates, we're anticipating that. So that could be just a part of the cake on top of whatever else they throw out there, because Jerome Powell mentioned in his little press conference, was it 2 weeks ago, a week ago now, they haven't even really begun to use all their tools. So they got more tools, whatever the hell that means. And ultimately, like I said last night, we're already in negative. We factor in the real rate of inflation, which, we don't really know. We know they are missing 2%. But with the real rate of inflation, factoring in the fact we're getting 0.06 and just your conventional deposit and saving accounts, it's already negative. Hello, call Ocean. Where you calling from?
Hey, it's the police.
Uh-oh.
Calling from North Carolina.
All right, now what's going on?
I'm going to turn the question back to you. What question would you want to know from an actual police officer that you always wanted to know?
Ooh, okay. Man, that's a good one. Threw me off guard with that one. What question would I want to know? Oh, frick. I need some time to think about that one, because if I had some time to prepare for that, I could have had something for you. But right now, I'm drawing a blank. So as the callers are listening, throw something in the chat. What questions would you have for a police officer, assuming you're in law enforcement or what?
Yes, I am.
Okay. So I don't have a question right now. Something's going to come pretty soon. give me your thoughts on the concept that politicians are now talking about trying to support the defunding aspect of the law enforcement departments and whatnot. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, my thoughts is, I would say that yes, they do need to defund a certain part, especially over here where I am. They're saying that we kind of went overboard in some capacity as far as gassing the crowds and things of that sort. So I think that the police departments do need to be defunded to some degree, but not to a large degree. It just all depends. Because if you cut our funds too much, then we won't be able to protect and serve the people who we are hired to. But yes, there's a lot of unorganization within the police departments, and a lot of corruption, unfortunately. No one just really talks about that side. And basically what you see on the news is only, as you already just a fraction, is just the tip of the iceberg of what really goes on. Yeah.
All right. So as you're speaking, so I threw the question out to the audience, and so a couple questions popped up. And so, not really serious questions, but stuff that I'll throw out there to you. So it says, why can't cops be more kind and humble is one of them.
Well, I think, I, for one, I'm one of those that I try to be the change that I want to see in the world. But most cops, once they put this badge and gun on, they're just a different person altogether. So basically, they're power struck. They can be, but they choose not to be. But first of all, cops are human beings, and they have their own problems, divorce, they have stresses, they have bills and debts and just all kinds of things of that sort. So I guess just, and really, frankly, training is not going to really help with that. The person has to change on the inside first. But yeah, I just try to be that example. But I see most of the officers that I do know, they're not really cut out for it. They're just,
So here's another question here. It says, where do law enforcement go from here?
Well, where we go from here is we basically but bottom line is that we have to hold each other accountable. And some cops do, some cops don't. But that's in any organization, unfortunately, where you're going to have a certain amount of corruption. But where we go from here, that's where we just have to, each individual has to hold each other accountable. And that's not going to always happen. That's only going to happen in a perfect world.
Okay. So here, last question here, and I'll let you go. It says, is a caller aware of the Association of Fraternal Order of Police Departments and Freemasons?
Yes, I am. There's a lot of Freemasons who are judges and lawyers and police officers. But yes, there's a street code there, and there's also there is a brotherhood there. I'm not affiliated with either one of them because I just don't like those type of secret societies and playing favorites and things of that sort. And also, by the way, there's this misconception that a lot of cops are, we're all just big brotherhood. No, you got a lot of cops who don't even like each other. So, so there's still a lot of, good cops out there. But just wanted to just kind of call in and just kind of give you a little insight on the inside.
I appreciate it, my man. Thanks for calling in. So last question I'm going to throw out here. So no more questions. And so we'll get a lot more questions. What is your solution to the riots?
My solution to the riots is spiritual. There really is no, and I hate that I'm going to say it like this. I'm going to say it straight. There is no solution. All lives matter. Everybody matters. That's my take. But the solution to the riots is you're going to have to change the inside of a person before anything can be changed on the outside. So to me, it all goes back to the spiritual aspect of a person. So,
all right, man.
Yeah.
Hey, well, I appreciate you sharing that. Thanks for taking those questions on such short notice.
Sure. Awesome.
Be good, my friend.
I'll check back in with you another time.
For sure. Be safe.
Okay.
All right.
Bye.
Yeah. I appreciate you guys coming through with some good questions. And so I was caught off guard with a question and couldn't prepare for that one because I literally drew a blank. So appreciate the call and sharing your thoughts, my friend. All right, so get ready to dial back. Give me a couple more questions and then 1 or 2 more calls. We're going to call it in for the night. But for those who might came on late, start off talking about, of course, the obvious stock market taking a dip. Gold did what it's supposed to do, just remain itself. It just, just sits there. It just sit there and absorb all the liquidity. And so just to show you how gold is just, it's just one of them things where gold, silver, as well as, a couple other things. But here is the actual paper price in the midst of everything we've been experiencing. So here is the last 10 years. So, of course, we had the last Great Recession situation. After all that kind of blew through, everybody realized where they should be. Gold went up. Okay, sure. Went down in the midst of all the zero, ZERP, and easy borrow, easy credit lifestyle. And here we are now, sitting on top of the hill again. And it's one of them things where here's just the last year. So while the markets have been, scaring people in March, the gold did as well, according to here. But yet, once again, look where it's at. And so even when it went down to 1,500, which I don't recall it doing that, but even if when it did, that was a good time to get more. And I want to say I definitely got more silver there. So yeah, so that's just that's just me. But anyway, what else we got here? It says Holter been saying for the years he's right. So Bill Holter, I've tried to reach out to him a couple of times, and he's very selective with his appearances these days, I guess. But talking about the credit freeze, when credit dries up. And so that's one thing that is still on the table. It is still on the table. And so let me see here. Let me show you silver. So I'll show you guys silver because it looks like low blood pressure at silver. So here is silver currently over the last year. So we had a little dip in March, and that's when I definitely, of course, it was not no 1174, but couldn't get it from 1174. I remember that very well. And so here we are now, back up here, and I don't foresee there being a major price dip like there was in March when it comes to metals, apart from people looking to get rid of it to get liquid. So, but anyway, take the last call. Hello, caller. What's your name? Where you calling from?
This is Omar calling from Massachusetts.
Omar, how you doing, my friend? What's on your mind tonight?
Yes. So you know that the Civil War started in 1861, and just to speak about the old tin foil hat thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the stock market went down 1,861 points of the same day that NASCAR banned the Confederate flag and unveiled the Black Lives Matter car. So it just seems all planned. You know what I mean?
Okay. I like where you're going with that. Well, okay. So yeah, that was you connecting a lot of dots there, my friend. So look at it from that angle there, it looks like a planned event. So I wouldn't doubt it. So what do you think? What do you think is coming next? What's next on your radar?
I don't even know what's next. It just when I looked at it, I was like 1861, and I thought to myself, I was just like, that date sounds real familiar. And then when I Google it, of course, that's when it came up that the Civil War started in 1861, and it just seems like just this weird coincidence with the whole NASCAR thing or whatever. You know what I mean? So I just think they have a whole agenda going on. And it just seems too much of a coincidence, you know what I mean?
Yeah. So hey,
they're really in control of this thing.
Yeah. Hey, and that right there, the way you put it there makes it seem like that could be a part of a plan, but yet to get it down to the number though is like I'd imagine, with a lot of algorithm trading and bot trading that they can probably get some things down, but that would be extremely precise to get it to 1861 and then all those other events to occur. So. Not saying it's not out there, but that's definitely some tinfoil type stuff. But it's worth hearing though. So I appreciate you, man, for calling in.
Thank you, brother.
You're good. Yeah. Yeah, man. Good stuff. 1861. That's a good one. Yeah, I would have never thought about that one with the tinfoil hat on for sure. Hello, caller. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hey, how you doing? It's Miles calling from NY.
Miles from NY. How you doing, my friend? Give me some good news in NY.
I'm good, man. The good news is that we still here, man. We keep going, man. Hey, I want to get your take, man, because I've really been thinking about it. There are some people out there that really, really are good at masterminding stuff. I know that they think a lot of stuff is tinfoil theories, but you got to think it shows like the Game of Thrones and stuff like that. There are literally people out there that spend their lives running scenarios, war games, and how to manipulate people through their mind. Masters of people. Yeah. And it just goes back to I think coming in November when it comes time for Trump to have to leave office, he's not going to leave office, and it's going to spark some stuff. And right now, we're being set up and prepped and primed to go to a physical state of conflict with each other. I really do believe the reset is going to come, and everything is going to smash down on us in part 3, and it's going to split the United States up. It's going to annex places off like Texas, California, Alaska. A lot of them states, Seattle, they're going to be split, broken up, and different leaders or governments, smaller governments are going to be set into place. You want to see places like China and Russia pop up with strong presences in this area, and I really do believe that. And you're going to have that currency running through that to keep them all together. You may even have certain states with walls going around it, with walls like literally they're not go in or out of that state or that area of the country, without certain passports or identifications and things like that. I mean, and it is. A lot of people may think that it's not possible, but you got to think the entire world was just on lockdown, and not only that, I think Russia is the blueprint for that, which is why Trump and all of them were so close, because they have all this mapped out. Nothing's an overnight thing. Everything is done years in advance. They thought about collapsing the dollar like long before I was even born. They knew this time would come, And I just want to get your take on how do you think that's all going to go down? Because you got a lot of people that do want Trump, and that will actually live and die fighting to keep him in office. Then you got others who oppose that, and it's going to tear the country in half. And I think it's really going to come to the point where it's really just split up, and then you got all of these sub-nations and sub-groups out there that are vying for their own identity within this country also, and all of that is just like, I think it's really just going to boil down to like, what we call the United States is going to be something different. It's not even going to be America anymore. Yeah. It's something totally different. And that's going to be the bombshell. But I don't want to eat the time up, man. You're doing a great job. Keep hitting the people. Don't drop your feet cloudy for nobody. Those that get lost along the way get lost. They were never there to begin with, man. True. Keep going strong.
Appreciate you. Thanks for calling in, man. Thanks for the question. I'll definitely touch on that. Great stuff. Okay, so, man, there's a lot of good stuff inside there. So I put up that picture there because when I saw that, I saw this what looks like, a quote from Joe Biden in the midst of an interview or something says, if Trump loses and refuses to leave, military will escort him from the White House. So, and then the question is, is Trump that bent on a second term that he'll take it by any means, or he'll keep himself there by any means? That's man, it's hard to really, it's really hard to gauge how far this can go. But I know what I'm willing to say is that I've been talking about political warfare for some time now, and based upon what we're being shown from the left-right argument, the Sleepy Joe, Trump tweeting and stuff like that, we're given the illusion that it's a war going on behind the scenes. But yet what we're witnessing along with that war is the fact that our monetary system, financial system is being ruined, and they will have an agenda with this whole health scare. So as a result of all that, I can see the states, divided states of the United States, the divided states of America, and I can see different regions being sectioned off based upon how certain states might go here, go there. And if Trump, so here's another thing. Right now, you can't believe anything from mainstream media. That's the problem. Like, I saw some CNN polls saying that Biden is winning by pretty big numbers. And I'm thinking, like, really, like, what, like, where I'm not following along that much to really think that Biden is even, even holding his own, because every time I see something on alternative media, is him stuttering or losing his thoughts. So he's been painted to be a complete, he's overextended his career in politics, put it like that. So I don't know what the outcome will be, but I know between now and November, there's going to be a lot of chaos. And any minute we can expect some low blows, dirty blows, all outright. In order for Trump not to win again, I can see the establishment, if that's who he's really up against, doing some extremely dark and dirty things, or we're all being led down a rabbit hole and this is all one big illusion. They both on the same side and they're just giving us that good guy, bad guy type of narrative as a perfectly written script towards the end of this country, however we see it now. So I don't know, man. It concerns me. It concerns me a lot. And other than just trying to just literally live in the moment, enjoy today as best as I can, and take little precautionary measures as best as I can. You can never be fully prepared, but yet you can brace and hold on for dear life while everything goes through what it goes through. And more importantly, from a spiritual elements, as the caller mentioned earlier, prayer, man. Stay prayed up, definitely deposit into your spiritual account now more than ever, because we're going to all be yearning and calling for something as we all will we're going to be all put in a situation where we're going to need some help in our lives if we haven't already, to where, I'm calling on the Lord now, as always, for myself, my family, and the children, you name it. So, but anyway, let me see. So there says, did you see Whitmer asking for federal help today? No, I did not. So that's another story I got to touch on. So yeah, man, it's more than enough stories out here that could keep us busy and keep us going forever. But anyway, so with that being the case, 56 minutes, about to dial back. I appreciate the call. Won't be able to take this one. I'm going to try to log on tomorrow and get a call in. So feel free to call back tomorrow. But other than that, for those that have enjoyed the live back and forth, I appreciate all the calls. Give us a thumbs up. Click the button right beneath this video here. And to get the word out there, take a minute, share this on your social media sites so everybody can find out what we're talking about over here and come join us. And then as always, if you want to be a blessing to the channel, all the information down below to do such is there. And I posted a lot of good articles today on the blog. So if you guys want, head over to rethinkingthedollar.com and you can check out some of the blogs from earlier. More dollar-related stuff. I think we're going to now be getting a lot more insight as to how the world views the dollar now that the Federal Reserve has weaponized it officially. So there's going to be a lot more things to talk about dollar-related. And so other than that, get your weight up and stay prayed up. And let's get back at it tomorrow. Be blessed, be safe. See you guys later. Peace.